Dr. Mel here again with physics, guys, and we are busy with momentum. We started off with just momentum. In a second session, we did the change in momentum. And now we're going to see what happens if I've got a system and I've got conservation of momentum. Now, this is an area where you'll have to have a look at this slide set, might twice, three times, because this will be in a matric exam. Let's jump right in. There's a change in momentum. Please remind yourself, change delta P in momentum. But now it's more than one object. Currently, we have one ball being hit by a club or one car being braked. What we have in this section is more than one object. So we've got a little trolley here, which we call number A. It's got a mass and it's got a velocity. We also have trolley B. Trolley B has got a mass and it has a velocity. Then we get a collision. This could be two cars, it could be two balls going towards each other. But can you see here that this little diagram indicates to me in which direction they are moving? So, when you work with momentum, make sure that you indicate at the top of your question where you're going to answer it, that in my explanation, I'm going to indicate the move to the right as the positive direction. And then in your answer, if your answer is positive, the examiner will know it was in that direction. Make sure, guys, please don't forget that, because you're not going to get the marks if you don't do that. In the opposite direction will then be a negative answer. So I always clearly indicate when I start doing my solution, in which way do I perceive the positive direction. Let's go back to our two little cars or trolleys. This one is moving to that side. We then said, if that's positive, I'm saying that's positive. Now, where am I going to use it? I'm obviously going to use that with my velocity. So I've got a positive velocity on this side. The other one is going to this side. So there I've got a negative velocity. A collision happens and now the velocity changes. So have a look. Car A now went backward. Remember what signal did we give that? We said the sign will be negative. And car A is now moving in this direction. Car B, is moving in that direction. And we said that's the positive. That was just showing you the signs, which is very important when you do momentum. What do we have here? We've got two masses. We have a collision and we've got the two masses moving. And I'm going to show you a few slides now where we are going to have the movement in different directions. Firstly, we just have to see we are working with a system. Both of the trolleys they actually represent a small part of space. So it is just a minute piece, two objects moving. It's not the whole universe. And we consider them to be the part of my investigation. So it's important that we do just solve this for these two trolleys. We're not solving the transport problems for New York or Tokyo. We're just solving our little problem on the piece of paper. The outside forces, everything that's outside of this is just the environment. Because sometimes you will find that it's slowing down or if it's going faster. It has to be in the system. So, you will learn about an isolated system in chemistry as well. And if you've done that chemistry of the Chatelier's principle of equilibrium, you would have heard the word isolated system. In terms of physics, the isolated system is a system on which the net external force is zero. What am I saying to you? It's isolated. If you take a thermo flask, the outside temperature doesn't impact on the inside temperature. If you've got hot water, boiling water that you put in there, or coffee or tea, it'll stay warm. If I've got ice cold water or anything that you drink that's cold, it will stay cool because there's no outside influences. The same here, there's no other forces. So we exclude all the external forces, like, for instance, friction. Now, let me quickly show you that there's a difference between internal forces and external forces. This is written down in most of your textbooks, and you don't really have to learn this, but it's just interesting to know that you do not have external influences. Let's quickly have a look at the list. Forces from outside, I said to you just now. Which are they? Applied forces, friction, tension, air resistance, or the forces on a car. Those that we did in Newton's second law, that's external, which somebody puts there, is the external forces. We will work in momentum only with the internal, the objects, the contact forces, the collisions, and gravitation. Those will be the only ones that will be a part of the momentum calculations. Now, it sounds like a lot of theory. All you have to know, please don't say that it slowed down because of friction. We will be working with conservation. Now, conservation is a word meaning conserve, meaning kept in. It's inside. The law of conservation of momentum means that the total linear momentum in a line of an isolated system, you've got to write these words down when they ask this, will remain constant. You will also have conservation of energy in a later section. You will also have conservation of mass when you do chemistry. So we use this word conservation quite a lot in physical sciences. I could quickly actually abbreviate and say to you, the momentum before will be exactly the same as the momentum after. But the word you've got to use has to be total linear momentum, isolated system, and it stays constant. So, the initial momentum will be exactly the same as the final. Nothing will be lost. Another sign that you will be using now is the Greek sign sigma. Do you see the sign here? Sigma. Sigma means the sum. So we are going to add the momentum before to the momentum of the other one. So I've got, say for instance, trolley X. Can you see here? This one was A and B. This could have been X and Y. So let's go back. I've got the momentum of X before initial plus the momentum of Y before, again the initial, will be equal to the momentum of X final, which is after, which is final, plus the momentum of Y final. The easy way to put your equation into the way that you're going to do your calculations is to expand this. So momentum is M times V. So this is M times VI. Of what? Of body X. Plus, remember it's a plus. So remember that plus there, it's the sum. What? Mass initial velocity of Y. So we've got X and Y and it's in the beginning. This will be equal, remember that equal sign there, to the momentum, we know that, finally of X. So you see there, I had the initial, here I've got the final, plus again the mass times the final velocity of Y. What did we say? It will stay the same. Right, let's go to a question, an example that we'll do together. This diagram shows two trolleys. Now let's have a look at these trolleys. You've been working with trolleys with Newton. It's actually an apparatus that we use that can move either apart or towards. They've got wheels, so they are actually moving. What do we have? Trolley P, and it's got a mass of 400 grams. Guys, immediately think, can I work in grams? No, you cannot. I've got trolley Q also in grams, 600 grams. And I will immediately go and convert those to the quantities I know. So I've got a 0.6 kilogram trolley here, which is Q, and I've got P is 4 kilograms this side. This here is a spring. So it's a compressed spring. And if you haven't seen a spring yet, it's almost like an elastic band. It's lying there and you actually stretched it or it can compress. So what I have here, I push these two trolleys together and you know, as soon as I leave my hands, I'm going to move apart. So on a flat frictionless horizontal track, so there's no friction there, and they said when the trolleys are released, it takes 0.3 seconds. What are they giving me? Delta T equals 0.3 seconds. For the spring to unwind, so probably that spring will be a little bit longer. This Q will be moving that side and P will be moving that side. The trolley Q then moves to the right. Do you see Q there? Moving to the right, and they give me a velocity of 4 meters per second. Let me quickly just remind you, both of these trolleys were stationary. So the VI for both of them will be 0. Here I've got the VF, and I probably would be asked to calculate this VF. But let's go to the questions. I've got a mass of 400 grams. We already put that into 0.4 kilograms. The other mass, 0.6 kilograms. Remember to convert, and I've got the time. As I said to you, write down what they provide, the information they provide to you. They said the velocity of Q is 4 meters per second to the right. So what I do immediately, I indicate to the teacher, to the examiner, that I'm choosing to the right as my positive direction. The questions. State the principle of conservation of linear momentum. It always will start with a theory question. Calculate the velocity of trolley P after the release. What did I tell you? They'll ask me the velocity, final velocity of P. And then they ask me, calculate the magnitude of the force exerted on the spring, of the spring. So the spring was compressed. It's now pushing the trolleys away. They want me to calculate that force. Let's do the question. The principle of conservation of linear momentum, if we go back to our first explanation there, linear momentum in an isolated system remains constant. So remember, it's linear momentum in an isolated system. These are the words that you have to have in your definition, and your answer will remain constant. I sure will give you full marks for that answer. Second question, calculate the velocity of trolley P after VF. Now I know I've got P and Q. I took that equation and I modified it, and now I've got my calculations that I can do. I just want to quickly have a look. So P has got a mass of 0.4 and Q has got a mass of 0.6. So 0.4 there, I know it was stationary, plus 0.6 here, and it was stationary. That was initially, it was before, remember, they were pressed against each other. Then they said to me, Q afterwards will move away with where 4. Where did I have it? So I've got 4 meters per second there, and I know that was positive, so that's fine. That mass is 0.6, and they asked me now to calculate the mass, the velocity of P. So that's being asked. Can we now do the math? Right. So I've got the 0 and 0 there, which gives me a value of 0. This side I've got 0.4 VF plus 0.6 times 4 is 2.4. And now you just have to do the math. So it's 2.4 this side. It is 0.4 VF that side. And I'm quickly going to jump up here to do the rest. Let me quickly write this here. Can you do the math? It is 2.4 divided by 0.4, which will give me the final velocity. And if you do that, you get 6 meters per second. The only problem is they told me that this trolley will move in the opposite direction. So this V would have been minus, which makes this a minus, and therefore my answer is a minus. And what does that minus mean? To the left, because you chose to the right as positive. So trolley P will be moving to the left with a velocity of minus or 6 meters per second. The second question was, or the third question was, the magnitude of the average force. Well, they asked me the net force, but they also gave me the time. They said it would take 0.3 seconds for the spring to relax. I've got the mass, which is 0.6 because it's trolley Q, and I now have the two velocities. The final velocity we just calculated just now, and we know it was at rest in the beginning. F net is thus 0.6 times 6 will give me a value of 3.6 divided by the 0.3, and if you do an accurate calculation, you'll get a value of 12, and it's force, so it's Newton. Please have a look. Did I do the correct substitution? Value of V would have been minus, and I specifically left it out because most of us do that. So complete that velocity with the minus, which brings this to a minus, which brings that to a minus. Now, what does that mean? Trolley P went this way, and obviously the spring pushed it that way, and we know that meant to the left. If it was positive, it would have been to the right. Let's quickly have a look at the collisions that you will find. We can have 3 types of collisions. In the first one, I've got 2 of these. This one is stationary. It's a car parked, and this car is moving right into it. You find a collision, and then they move away as a unit. They move away together, so you can actually just add their masses together because both of them will be moving with the same velocity. A second collision will be 2 cars, but look at this one. It's not stationary as the previous one. They are moving towards each other. It's like a car coming from the front, and they collide, and then see this one is moving to that way and that way as well. So they move off separately. The final one, I've got something that's coming from a vertical direction that's being dropped on this car. Now, this is, for instance, a truck, and I'm throwing coal, or I'm throwing anything, mealies, anything, onto this truck. And now I know I've got to add those 2 masses together. Just bear in mind, this velocity doesn't really concern us because it's not in the linear motion or in the direction. So that velocity there of B will be 0. You'll have your truck traveling first. Both of them will be added to give you a heavy truck, and you'll be able to work out the momentum. That was collisions. So have a look at the directions, guys. See what they're doing and know how to complete your equation. Other than collisions, we can find explosions. So collisions went to each other. Explosions will work away from each other. Like a spring, which we just did. and we're going to have a look at firearms. So I've got this truck. It's got two portions, A and B. It is stationary, and then there's an explosion, and the one truck moves to the one side. Remember, we'll say that's minus, and this one is moving to that side, and we will say that's in the positive direction. So they are moving away, and be careful when you allocate your velocities that they've got different signs. Otherwise, you're going to make an error. Another type of explosion is they've got the spring. They are moving away from they came to each other, and they now moving in the same way without the string. So it's pushing away. It doesn't really concern you now if it's going away or not. What's now important to see that I've got different directions, and if they are one unit, you can just add them together. Finally, and this is questions that I see in every exam. For instance, a firearm. You've got a bullet inside the firearm. So initially you'll see VG plus B. That means V gun plus V bullet. Now, if I'm having the gun in my hand and the bullet, they aren't moving, so it's stationary. Then there's a shot, which is an explosion. And then the bullet will move forward, and there will be a backward motion, which we call recoil. You'll feel your body. It depends on the firearm you're using, moving backwards. And again, so the firearm will be moving in the negative direction, but the bullet will be moving in the positive direction. Those were just diagrams that we can see. So have a look. If it's an explosion, it will probably move away from each other, and have a look at your directions. It's crucial that you always have a look at these. In the next session, we are going to look at examples where we will work out the velocity of the bullet or the velocity of the firearm. So have a look at that. What we meant in this section was we had to explain what a system means. We had a look at external, but we are very concerned with the internal forces. We gave you the definition of an isolated system because you're going to use that when you do define the conservation, the keeping of momentum. The momentum before is exactly the same as the momentum after. You had a look at the explosions. We showed you a few collisions. Remember direction, guys. I cannot stress this enough. In the previous section, we did tell you momentum is a vector. And then finally, you've got to be able to apply this principle where you're going to do calculations to show that the momentum before will be exactly the same as the momentum after. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.